Hey, welcome back to Champ Real Estate Podcast. I'm very excited to be joined today with a good friend of mine, agency owner of Farmers Insurance, Karen Lyles. It's funny because we knew each other like for a while when I was playing. Yes. Good friends with your husband, you know, out and about, anything. But it's one thing that like creates a stronger bond being in the gym doing WODs.
Oh my God.
So I'm talking about CrossFit. Oh yes. My God.
Back in the CrossFit days.
Why do we do CrossFit, man? It was
a cult.
It was a cult, man. I think my body was probably in the best shape of its life.
Mine too.
But it didn't feel like it.
It
right?
did not. I'm still searching for that girl. I can't find her anymore.
I know, right? So, but thanks for being on. We wanted to talk about some important things, some important different topics. But first, just wanted the people to really get an understanding of who is Karen Lyles.
Well, I actually, funny enough, started off out of college as a teacher.
What grade? What subject?
Middle school. I actually taught children with disabilities
awesome.
My whole time.
Okay.
And then I found out my son had dyslexia, and I had to leave teaching behind because I needed to be there for him. And that was actually when I first landed in insurance.
Wow.
One of my husband's frat brothers, his wife, worked for Allstate and was running a really great agency program. And she said that teachers were a really good fit. And it just kind of, it was a good fit because I do really enjoy educating people.
Right.
And unknown fact really, is that insurance is written on a 7th grade level. Wow. So I was a middle school teacher. Yeah. So perfect fit, right? So then question. I can educate the world on the 7th grade level, right?
I think the status though, most people read and kind of in a 3rd grade level. So it's like, so your job is safe and secure, right? Them 4th grade levels is crucial.
There you go. So started off at Allstate as an agency owner. I went through a 18-month program with Allstate, and then I opened my first insurance agency off 54th and Lafayette Road. It's actually still there. And I left and went into the corporate world with insurance for a while, and I was a project manager with a utility and dabbled in real estate a little bit. Okay. And then landed me back in the insurance seat of being an agency owner with Farmers Insurance, and I couldn't be happier.
That's awesome. What is it about insurance that brings you some excitement and some fulfillment?
In all honesty, my first rodeo, so to speak, with insurance, I really had my hands kind of tied where we didn't have a large appetite for businesses. And at that time, a few of us, I was in my 20s then, and a few people that I knew, friends, colleagues, were kind of dibbling and dabbling in entrepreneurship, but not like it is now, right? Where I know so many entrepreneurs that have either branched off into consulting or owning their own businesses. And so when I went back into insurance, it was very important for me to be leveraged to be able to service that need, right? To be able to serve businesses. I don't even know how to explain it, but I definitely have this passion for business insurance. I'm actually number 2 in the state for business insurance. Okay. I was last year. The year before that, I was 3. So I'm still climbing my way to number 1.
Here we come.
Right? I'm going to claim it for 2023.
I love it. And if you're listening, we're going to do a whole episode on E&O insurance and insurance. So definitely like, subscribe, stay tuned. We're going to do more episodes, and we're going to talk about insurance and like why it's needed. So many business owners are maybe underfunded or they don't have it at all. Yeah. So we're definitely going to get into that. So that is great. From a work-life balance standpoint, like what do you like from that standpoint of being an agency owner?
Actually, it's not just myself. I really love to empower my team as well to have work-life balance. If I can speak frankly, as a Black woman, I have been told so many times, that I didn't have enough education. Holding 2 master's degrees, never really understood that. Yeah. And I got a little tired of corporate America muting my voice. Right. And so now I am so comfortable with being who I am and being unapologetic for who I am. Yep. And I'm building my team to be that same way. And I feel like you can be a mom. If you're a wife, you can be a wife. You can be a business owner. You can have all the things. You can drink water, exercise, own a business, and still be profitable. And so I teach my staff that, I never shy away from people having to bring their kids to work or whatever. We're a family. It's a family-owned business, and I understand family and the dynamics of it. Even if you don't have children, you want to go home and watch paint dry. Like, there is a way to make money and still have your sanity.
Wow, that's so powerful. And I think it's so consistent with what we're seeing now in the workforce. People are burnt out.
Yeah.
People don't feel appreciated. People don't feel seen, heard, valued.
Yeah.
So I think that's wonderful that you do that for your employees. For the young woman watching, especially minority women, Black women, that are business owners, like, what would you say to encourage them, right? Because some of them haven't quite figured out that balance yet. And they're struggling with, like, all right, how hard do I go, at a business, or how hard do I go being a wife, and just, all that. I think societal pressure of what you should, conform to as a woman. So what would you share with them?
I think you definitely have to establish what you want, right? Like, don't go after what you're necessarily seeing out on the social media platform, in the media, even what you see to your immediate right and your left. You have to define your own definition of success, right? Like, a big part of my own success is being able to make it to every dance competition that my daughter has, right? And that's what success looks like to me. And so if I don't position myself to make it to those things, I don't feel like I'm being successful. I want to make sure that I have good Google reviews on my website, or good reviews on other platforms that I have. And so if I'm not attaining a certain number of good reviews, then I don't feel like I've done my job. So it's not just the monetary goals. It's helping people, giving back to the community, right? Like, I want a portion of my margins to go back to help the homeless.
Right.
So you have to establish what you want your success to be like. And as long as you're driving towards those goals, I don't really feel like you're off the beaten path. And then it doesn't really seem like work.
Yeah.
Because you're just living life out to complete your passion. Yeah. So a lot of times I don't feel like I'm working, even though there are some days, some weeks, some days that I put in long hours, and entrepreneurship is part of that. Like, it's a hustle. It's hard. It's not easy, right? But if you're doing something that you're passionate about and you're enjoying what you do, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, it's I've had so much enlightenment the last few years, and one of the things that I found that works for me is, like, I measure my success by my calendar, not my bank account. Meaning that, my calendar is not filled chasing and being everywhere and being pulled. Like, my calendar is filled with making sure I'm at my kids' games. Making sure that my priorities and what drives me and fulfills me is first, and then I do business.
Absolutely.
And I think that's such a more healthy way
to operate.
Yeah,
calendar versus I like that.
Yeah. Just prioritize. Yeah. Because funny is, like, people, just like ask you, about your daily habits, your daily rituals. And a lot of mine stems from a morning routine. But then how I prioritize things is just like, why do you have, like, your kid, like, scrimmage as, like, your first priority? Like, because I'm going to be out of the office.
Right.
Like, because that's, everything falls on, like, that endpoint where I need to be somewhere to get them to make sure we're good.
Right. Absolutely.
So no matter what emergency comes up, that takes precedent over all of it.
Absolutely.
So I think operating like that just really gives me fulfillment, which just makes life, more, excitable, and makes you really now understand the values and the both the joys and the pains of entrepreneurship, because there's definitely both of those.
Oh, there is definitely both of those. Yes.
So talk to us about what was a learning lesson, growth opportunity, or what's something that occurred to you as a business owner that kind of, like, got you to where you are today? I know we talked about being in corporate America, climbing a thing, and then pivoting, and I think you had a downside situation and some of those moments.
I did. My last position prior to real estate and insurance, I was a project manager for a utility, and I had the hardest time climbing that corporate ladder.
Right.
I just could not seem to get it done as intelligent as I thought I was, right? Or my mom or my husband or my children. I just could not seem to get outside of this box, right? And this would have been my 4th time being downsized, just being in a corporate structure, period. Yeah. And I was just like, okay, like, God, is this your way of telling me that it's time for me to do something different? And I have taken multiple personality profiles. I think all of us have over the years, right? And one thing that always came out of my personality profile was innovation. When you're not in a position where innovation is, accepted, invited into.
Yeah, celebrated.
Celebrated, exactly. I just felt like it was killing me on a personal level a little bit more. I just felt like it was eating away at who I was. Yeah. And so when I decided to take this next step, I wanted to make sure that it was something that I could bring innovation to. And so that has probably been one of the biggest keys to success in what I do now, because the market is always changing, right? And you have to figure out how to be innovative, how to enjoy what you're doing, how to get your message out there, and then also allowing my team to be innovative as well. I think one thing that a lot of us as small business owners don't do is practice professional development and goal setting with our teams, right? Like, we're so busy being busy that we don't have processes, we don't have SOPs, we don't have a handbook, a rule book, a playbook, anything. So I've made sure that in this second venture as an agency owner, that all of those things were in place. But I'm also open to feedback from my staff too, and allowing them to have ownership in their own practice. And honestly, in the past 3 to 6 months, I've seen a major turn in my lead producer, and I was holding her back, honestly, because I thought she was comfortable behind the desk. Yeah. And I had her go out a couple of times, just, meeting with other businesses, trying to drum up her own centers of influence. And my phone started ringing with, how do you hear about us? Is one of our first questions. Yeah. Like, your team member so-and-so gave me your business, gave me your business card. And I was like, sister, you're holding yourself back by being behind this desk. Like, this isn't your ministry. Your ministry is networking, right? Like, I just don't even think that you ever realized it. And this is her first sales job. She was a CNA previously. So she's got the gift of gab and making people feel comfortable. Like, that's who she is at her core. And so helping her to develop that skill has been so rewarding, not only for her, but really for me too.
Wow. That's a great testimony.
Thank you.
So what's next? What's next for you? What's next for the agency owner? What's next? I know we're claiming the number one spot this year.
Claiming the number one business spot.
So what else? What else we got?
We're also. I am passionate about coaching other entrepreneurs too. Awesome. And so the company has given me the opportunity to bring on proteges. Okay. So people that will study up under me side by side to learn how to be agency owners. It's a 12-month program. And upon graduating from that, it positions them to either buy their own book of business or to start from what we call scratch in the insurance industry, where you're kind of like your own client and you build your book of business one by one. So I'm really excited about that. I'm probably onboarding my first protege in the next 2 months.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm excited.
That's
really
great.
Excited.
That's great. So where can they find you at for that information, or if they're looking to get insurance, home, life insurance, we're going to go over those things.
So literally you can just Google Karen Lyles, KarenLyles, in Farmers Insurance. You can go directly to my website. You can give me a call at 317-288-0140, or you can email me. First initial K. I have a really popular name.
Karen. Karen.
It is,
and it hasn't been like the
completely butchered.
It has been murdered.
Okay, hear me. Nothing make me proud of my name anymore.
Man.
So it's just my first initial K, last name Lyles at farmers with an S agent.com.
Well, you definitely didn't act like a Karen here today.
Thank you.
Especially that type.
I am not a Karen.
Yeah, that's awesome. So thank you for tuning in. Definitely like, subscribe, share this with somebody, especially if someone who wants to be an agency owner. My girl's over here giving up game. You know the contact information, and you can contact me on my page, glbexp.com. Thank you once again. Another episode of the Champ Real Estate Podcast.